Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Keyblade Master and welcome to my channel. Now last Thursday Nintendo updated their Virtual Console program and they added two new games. One of them was an import game called vs. Excitebike, and that's what I'm going to be taking a look at here today. Vs. Excitebike, is it worth picking up? Well, I said in my little quick Friday rant that versus Excitebike might be worth taking a quick look at if you're a fan of the original game. So let's take a quick look at what versus Excitebike is and if it's worth your time. There is no story in versus Excitebike. Rather, the object of the game is to go from race to race and make sure that your time that you get on the course is below the time that you see on the corner that says 5th place. If you do not beat that time, then you lose and must retry the course again. The second time through the course, you will have other racers trying to trip you up. But the basic goal is always to beat that time. You're not out to beat the racers as much as you are out to beat the time. And that's the fun of Excitebike, is just trying to beat that time and finding ways to get across the tracks and the obstacles. So for the most part, this is kind of a fun little trip. And the fact that they did put more of a quest mode in this Famicom version than what we got in the American version is a great plus. The graphics in Versus Excitebike are a little bit better than what we had on the NES over here, but not by much. For the most part, they're pretty much identical, and for an NES launch game, Excitebike looks pretty good. Not Super Mario Brothers good, but still pretty good. Versus Excitebike adds a few new visual things, like the fact that your racer will now flash before his bicycle overheats. That's kind of a nice little visual cue to keep that from happening, and I do appreciate it. Also, we do have some better animation for the people jumping up and down on the pedestals at the end of a race. Overall, the graphics in Excitebike are serviceable for an older game, but don't expect a lot of visual flair. A little bit of an improvement over the original NES, but it still, for the most part, looks like Excitebike to me. There's actual music in this new VS version that we have here on the Virtual Console, and it sounds pretty good. Here, take a quick listen. While not the best NES music ever, it's still pretty catchy and it's pretty lively, and it adds a little bit more flair than the NES version, which just had the bicycle sound effects for sound. Overall, this is probably the game's biggest improvement when it comes to the technical aspects. There's one or two small gameplay changes which I will get onto later. But the basic gameplay is still classic Excitebike. If you never played Excitebike, like I said before, the goal of each race is to get below a certain time so you can proceed on to the next track. Same goes here for versus Excitebike. You also have two speeds, one button which gives you a continuous slow speed, and then another button that makes you move real fast, but it fills your temperature gauge up real fast as well. And if you go too long on this turbo mode, you will overheat and you'll have to stop for several seconds before you can go again. If you crash your bike into either another player or another obstacle, you will also slow down. So the basic premise of Excitebike still exists here. Now what Verse adds is a few new features. First thing that it adds is that it's now more like a quest, like you're going through a tournament of sorts, rather than just some basic random tracks. You start off kind of doing a prelim lap by yourself, and then you will go into a race filled with other racers rather than them being separated by two modes. I like the way this works, a practice run and then a real run. And again, you're not out to beat the other racers, they're just extra obstacles for you to dodge in the main race. But you will be completing races and you will be moving on from course to course in kind of this little map here, and I love it. They've also added in a few new things as well, mainly a course editor that gives you a few more options and gives you the ability to save. If you were big into this course editor, and I was when I was a kid, building the tracks and kind of sharing them with friends, then this new feature will definitely fascinate you. there's also a two-player mode, which I didn't have time to get into. Anyways, I liked all the new improvements to Versus Excitebike, and Versus Excitebike isn't going to really maintain your interest for a long period of time. I usually play Excitebike for about 10 or 15 minutes a piece whenever I need to kill some time, but I do enjoy it. Same thing with Versus Excitebike. Those who are looking for a really good editor, though, are going to love the ability to save it. And I don't know how good the two-player mode is, unfortunately, but the fact that it's there, it's definite plus. Versus Excitebike is definitely the definitive version, in my opinion, to get on the Virtual Console. I give it a 4 out of 5. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more of my stuff and join my community, feel free to click that subscribe button. I do reviews like this. I also do editorials, and I even check out the Virtual Console once every week and tell people what I think of the games, as well as any good sales that might be happening this week. This is Tommy the Keyblade Master thanking you for watching and signing out.